afternoon, this is Hazel Gonzales, your host for today's news report, bringing you special coverage on Brunei's education system. Today, we take a closer look at how the country provides free education from primary to university, its achievements, challenges, and the future of learning in Brunei. Stay with us as we dive into the key developments shaping its education sector. Brunei provides free education from primary to university levels, including not only tuition but also accommodations, meals, textbooks, and transportation for its people. Despite the fact that education is not obligatory, the country offers high primary and secondary enrollment rates of 100.1% and 92.1% respectively, with an adult literacy rate of 97%. In addition, the country follows the national education system for the 21st century, which was implemented in 2009 with the goal of providing students with applicable skills for the modern world. The curriculum is influenced by the British system and includes bilingual instruction in Malay and English, and the Ministry of Education aims to achieve quality education for a prosperous nation, in line with SDG 4 Education 2030, which encourages inclusive and equitable learning opportunity. Its system includes pre-primary, secondary, and higher education. Primary school completion, which is 96.19%, has surpassed the global average of 80.36%. The secondary has 88.93%, exceeding the global average of 80.39%. On the other hand, the higher education was 38.27%, below global 40.35%. And lastly, primary school completion was 96.19%, exceeding the global average of 88.32%. Students then have the option of pursuing pre-university courses, vocational training, or entering the workforce directly. Brunei maintains a heavy emphasis on Islamic education. They ensure that students build a strong moral basis in addition to academic excellence, allowing them to form moral foundations for themselves. However, COVID-19 pandemic disrupted education, resulting in 15-week school closures and an average loss of more than half a year. 52% of students struggled with assignments, while 40% needed support during remote learning. Brunei's education system remains dedicated to developing intelligent, talented, and globally competitive students, paving the path for a better future. The government also promotes lifelong learning and research development, reaffirming its desire to create a knowledge-based country. To further help us gain deeper insights, we have invited 4 speakers to share their expertise on key issues in education in Brunei. Our first speaker, Sir Matthew, will discuss the mismatch between education and job market needs in Brunei. Sir Matthew?
Thank you, Hazel. So Brunei faces a notable disparity between its education system and the labor market's requirements, leading to significant graduate unemployment. In 2023, the unemployment rate among individuals with advanced education was reported at around 6.14%. However, this figure is higher than the national unemployment rate, which is at 5.2% also in the same year. This data underscores the employment challenges faced by highly educated individuals in Brunei. A study conducted by the University of Brunei Darussalam explored the root causes of graduate unemployment. The research revealed that many Bruneian youths aspired to secure prestigious, well-compensated, and stable positions often found in the private sector. However, these employers have expressed concerns that these graduates lack essential employability skills such as problem-solving abilities or leadership qualities. This divergence between graduate aspirations and employer expectations really makes the employment challenge even worse in Brunei. So, one misalignment occurs in a study done by the Center of Strategic and Policy Studies in 2012. So here, they conducted a survey of 816 university graduates, and here are their findings. So first, approximately 26% of the surveyed graduates were unemployed. Graduates from arts and humanities faced an unemployment rate of 44%, which is higher than their counterparts in engineering and construction, which is 16%, and ICT and health, which is 14%. 70% of unemployed graduates have been seeking employment for less than a year, while 14.5% have been job hunting for 2 years. A majority relied on pursuing job advertisements and consulting friends or relatives, with only 41% registering in the labor department. About 80% attributed their unemployment to limited job opportunities, and 55 to 70% believe that the lack of social connections or perceived favoritism towards foreign graduates made their employment a lot harder. Thus, addressing this mismatch between Brunei's education system and its job market is imperative for reducing graduate unemployment rate and achieving the nation's 2035 objectives. Through collaborative efforts involving educational institutions, the government, the private sector, Brunei can cultivate a workforce that is both skilled and adaptable to the evolving demands of the economy.
Thank you for that insightful discussion, Sir Matthew. Now let's move on to our second speaker, Sir Miguel, who will discuss the low tertiary education enrollment rate in Brunei.
Thank you, Hazel. Another problem Brunei Darussalam faces in education is the low tertiary education enrollment rate. As stated by Hazel, the world average enrollment rate is around 40.35%. However, Brunei Darussalam only averages 33.51% and 38.27% in 2022 and 2023 respectively, which is lower than the world average. This gap is even more noticeable when we compare to its regional neighbors, countries Singapore, Thailand, and Indonesia's tertiary education enrollment rate. Reports are significantly higher than Brunei Darussalam. For instance, Singapore reaches up to 98% enrollment rate. A lower tertiary education enrollment rate suggests that a large portion of the population either does not pursue or does not have adequate access to education. Several factors that contribute to these are limited university access, financial constraints, or lack of motivation to enroll due to mismatched degrees and job outcomes. If this problem is not addressed, the country risks falling short in building a highly skilled workforce. This would hinder Brunei Darussalam's long-term development, given that the country strives to diversify its economy beyond oil and gas. In order to meet national goals such as the Wawasan 2025, it is important for Brunei Darussalam to give more attention to the education sector, improving accessibility, relevance, and attractiveness of education. Thus, Brunei Darussalam would be equipped with a well-educated workforce contributing to boosting the economy.
Thank you, Sir Miguel. I'm sure our viewers watching live now have a better understanding of the current tertiary education enrollment rate in Brunei. Up next, let me introduce our third speaker, Miss Lana.
Moving on to another problem that Brunei is facing within their education system, let's tackle Brunei's shortages of educators across multiple fields. While Brunei has made significant strides in education, including achieving a remarkable literacy rate with a rate of 97.59%, and a high gross enrollment in secondary schools with an enrollment rate of 91% higher than regional average, which is 89%, the country is grappling with a critical need for teachers, particularly in specialized areas like English, arts, preschool, and special education. In connection to a later topic, a report cited in the OECD briefing on gender imbalances in education reveals that while women dominate the teaching profession at early childhood and primary levels, they are underrepresented in higher education teaching roles, which further exacerbates the scarcity of educators in critical subjects needed for fostering a well-rounded education. The shortage not only hampers the quality of education but also limits Brunei's potential to cultivate a generation equipped with diverse skills necessary for the future job market. To address this challenge, Brunei has launched initiatives like the School Leadership Program, or the SLP, and a teacher service training aimed at enhancing the prestige of the teaching profession and attracting more educators. However, reports indicate that ongoing efforts are needed to retain these educators, especially in specialized fields. According to the International Labour Organization, teachers in Brunei earn lower wages compared to professionals in other sectors like finance and logistics, creating a deterrent for individuals considering a career in education. The teacher shortage in Brunei represents a significant hurdle towards achieving an inclusive and quality education for all students. As they approach the goals outlined in the Brunei Vision 2035, it is imperative that they not only recognize these challenges, but also invest in attracting, training, and retaining qualified teachers to ensure future generations receive the education they deserve.
Thank you so much, Ms. Lana, for your discussion on teacher shortages across multiple fields in Brunei. Now, let me introduce our final speaker for today, Sir Jacob, who will discuss gender and wage disparities in the teaching profession in Brunei.
Thank you, Hazel. I will now elaborate more on the wage disparities within Brunei Darussalam's teaching profession. As of 2023, Brunei's educational sector employs 10,609 teachers, with women comprising a significant majority of 7,726, or approximately 73%. This trend is consistent across various educational levels. For instance, in secondary education, female teachers number 3,257 out of 4,574 total. And in primary and preparatory schools, they account for 3,004 and 3,004 of 3,849 teachers. Despite this, female predominance, wage disparities still persist. In Brunei, male teachers earn an average of 3,560 Brunei dollars monthly, while female teachers receive about 3,280 Brunei dollars, a difference of 8%. A similar trend is evident in Malaysia, where women earn approximately 14% less than men despite making up over half of professional occupations. The gap is even wider in some sectors, with women earning up to 33% less than men. In contrast, the Philippines has a smaller gender pay gap of around 10.2%, but disparities remain particularly in lower income educational roles. The public sector, including education, offers more equitable opportunities. In 2021, women constituted 56% of government employees, up from 47% in 2003. Notably, women held 41% of department head positions and 67% of senior officer roles within the government. Addressing these disparities is crucial for fostering a more inclusive and equitable educational environment in Brunei. That's all from me. Back to you, Hazel.
Thank you to our four guest speakers for sharing their valuable insights on Brunei's education system. And with that, we officially conclude today's news report. This has been Hazel Gonzales. Thank you for tuning in, and until next time, stay informed and stay safe.